Eggs, the unexpected star of 2024 and possibly 2025. Now, you might be wondering, what is he talking about? Well, remember back in 2024, we had a historic election where everybody was discussing politics everywhere you looked. Social media, news outlets, but there was also a topic that everybody was talking about and still are, which is the price of eggs. Why is this? It's because the price of eggs is being used as a gauge to measure inflation. Well, we're seeing stories all over the place of high prices for a dozen of eggs. But I want to ask you, is there more to this story than what meets the eye? Let's talk about this. Hello, my name is Jesus Torres and welcome to my channel. And let's talk about the price of eggs and what's really behind the rise that we're seeing in these prices. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the news outlets and social media are talking a lot about the price of eggs. And I feel like there is more to this story than what we're being given. Now, recently I saw a video from NBC6 South Florida. In this video, they were talking about the price of eggs and how it's been going up recently and how it's a gauge for inflation. Now, in the article, they actually went to a store and they showed a dozen of eggs for the price of $19.99. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, so that is actually true. There are some places where people are being charged $19.99 for a dozen of eggs. So there is truth to that. However, it's not the full story. And why do I say this? It's because, as most of us know, is that the news media and influencers, what they're gonna do is they're gonna sell you or try to give you stories that incite views. And how do they do that? Is they need to sell fear, sell panic. So what I mean by that is that if they actually find a place where a dozen of eggs are $19.99, they're actually spreading the story and showcasing it without any context behind that. And then people start spreading the news and it goes viral. So there's people who are gonna believe that even though they don't have the price for eggs in their area at $19.99, it could eventually go up that high. Now, when I first saw this prices on this video, there was a little shock on my part, but then I remembered, wait a minute, when I order eggs online from my local store, I see that the price for eggs for a dozen, depending on the type of eggs you buy, can be anywhere from $4 to $7. So right there, just on my experience, I know that, yes, I'm seeing on TV, on YouTube, that the price for a dozen of eggs in a certain store in Florida is $19.99. But myself, when I buy eggs, they're anywhere between $4 and $7. So I know there is an attempt to have a narrative sold that the dozen of eggs are $19.99 or gonna be $19.99 soon. Now, speaking of the media, I saw an article online, also from NBC, which talked about the virality that some creators are getting by talking about the price of eggs. In the article, for example, there was a TikToker they interviewed who said she'd been posting about just random content online in her TikTok channel, and she was trying to go viral, but she was never successful. And all of a sudden, she just posted about eggs and she started going viral. There was also another example where a TikToker, she went to Trader Joe's and bought some eggs that were already fertilized, and she put them in an incubator and she hatched them, and she started getting a lot of views because a lot of people want to know of alternatives to buying eggs because they fear that the eggs are high, or in their cities they're starting to go up. So as you can see, talking about eggs is increasing the views for people, and because they drive fear and the fear drives more views, it's actually a never-ending cycle. So they're gonna post more and more extreme articles and videos because they know this is gonna garner more views, which means virality. And if they go viral, they can make more money. Now, let's talk about some things that affect the prices of eggs. There's a lot of factors that affect the price of eggs, such as a big story that's going on right now, which is the bird flu. There's currently an outbreak. And because of this outbreak, 166 million chickens have already had to be culled. Because of this, it has caused a decrease in the supply of eggs, and the demand of eggs is at the same time going up because people are afraid they won't be able to afford them. Another thing is the increase in the price of feed and maintenance for the production of eggs. This is also causing the egg prices to go up. Let's also talk about the increase in transportation costs. So if there's an increase in getting the eggs from the farm to your stores, that's also going to affect the ultimate price you pay as a consumer. And let's not forget about panic buying and hoarding. There's already been videos on social media that show people making big lines from the morning on early hours outside of places like Costco and Walmart. And there's even been videos where people are actually fighting over the eggs. All of this is going to drive up the price of eggs. Also, the tariffs imposed by Trump on other countries have also caused uncertainty in the market and have caused an increase in products such as soybean and corn, which was an export that would be sent to China. This is also leading to an increase, as I mentioned earlier, in the feed that is given to chickens, which produce the eggs. This is also leading to an increase in the price of eggs. Now, after talking about all this, like I said earlier, are we really getting the full picture? Because this message is being sold that the price of eggs is $19.99. It's going to go up everywhere if it's not already $19.99. What happens when this pattern is applied to other big issues that affect people? And what I mean is big issues like, let's talk about housing prices. There's stories already circulating on social media for years now, as a matter of fact, that talk about the housing market and how the prices are very high and they don't have any context, because the housing market is not national. It's really going to be regional. So when people say that the pricing of the housing market is high, you have to really take into consideration, is the housing market they're talking about for your city, or are they talking about somewhere across the country? Another example is going to be the economy and inflation. People like to talk about inflation and the economy, and they just give random numbers and use big words, or they just give numbers without context. What about gas prices? With gas prices, there's also a lot of factors that affect the price of gas, anywhere from political instability at home or abroad, or just the demand or the time of the year, or any holiday seasons. There's a lot of factors that come to play when it comes to stories. So we need to always step back and look at the big picture and make sure we're being given the full story and not just being guided to a certain kind of narrative. And we've already been here before, where the media caused a lot of panic in the consumers, that people started hoarding and trying to stockpile to make sure they had enough supply for their own. Some people even tried selling them after they hoard them. This was back during the pandemic, when people were trying to hoard as much toilet paper as they could. This led to not only an increase in the price of toilet, but also to toilet paper running out. So stores weren't able to quickly refill their warehouses with toilet paper, and even production wasn't able to keep up. Same thing's happening now with the eggs. Now tell me, what do you think about these reasons and how they're affecting the price of eggs? Do you think there's any other reasons, or do you agree or disagree with these reasons? What are the prices that you're seeing where you live at? Are you seeing prices near $19.99, or are the prices lower or higher? Now, if you like what you saw today, please support the channel and give a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time.